This workbench never seems to get any tidier. It's a bit of a tip at the moment, which is putting it politely, but part of the reason is because there are loads of unfinished projects on here and down there on the floor that I haven't got round to finishing, but anyway, I'm getting another one out of the way tonight, and this is a Philips 732 amplifier receiver, probably from the early 70s, possibly mid 70s, simply by the design of it. I haven't got the instruction manual or schematic diagram for it, but it's quite a simple thing really to work on, for something made by Philips anyway. And this actually came with a record player and actually that set of speakers up there, and I haven't tried those speakers yet, but I've got no reason to believe they won't work. The record deck worked, but as per usual had a nasty rotten belt in it which had gone to goo, so I've cleaned that all up and overhauled the motor, lubricated it and serviced it, and that all works very well now. And this amplifier worked fine. Lots of volume, good quality sound, but one thing that didn't work was the tape selector switch, which is on the front here. I'm afraid this camera's a bit useless these days, but it's this switch here, and I suppose the tell sign was someone's actually put a red X through tape on the fascia plate there. But yes, the problem is this button wouldn't latch. Although this is in good condition, this unit, I think it has seen quite a bit of use. I have actually cleaned it, but it was quite grubby when it came to me. All the other switches latched okay, but tape didn't, which meant you couldn't use the 5-pin DIN input on the back to connect a tape deck. As well as that, the power on button also got stuck, and I've had to sort that out with a replacement switch. But the problem with this was the back of the mechanism is actually quite a complicated affair, and part of it is completely missing, and I couldn't find it rattling around in the cabinet anywhere, so I don't know if someone's been there before me or it's just vanished somehow. I don't know, but I couldn't find the parts in there, and even if I could, there would be no way of repairing it rather. So I've had to make a bit of a bodge up just so this switch would work again. And what I'll do is turn the unit round, hopefully without knocking it on the floor. Now, if I get a screwdriver, you can see here the switch mechanisms, which are a series of latches that fasten on to the back plate of each switch. And these are just plastic parts, and of course plastic with age and wear and tear goes brittle, and it's simply missing the latch and missing the plate on the back of the switch. There was nothing there, and I could see that it looked as if it had been broken off, you know, probably a very long time ago. So there was nothing there for me to work with. So there is a latch in its original condition, and this here is the tape selector switch and you can see there something looks a bit different. And the reason it looks a bit different is because I've wedged a piece of rubber in between the plate here of the switch and the back plate of the actual button on the front of the unit. And all this has done is to fill the void which was where the latch was originally. So now you can just about see it there. When you press on the button, it will now engage. There is a little bit of play there with the piece of rubber I've put there, but it's not going to go anywhere. It's just the right size to slot in there nicely, and it's not going to fall out. Or at least if you don't pick the unit upside down or something. So that's one way round fixing that problem, because there is no way I can get in there because all this plastic is moulded around each switch, and I wouldn't be able to get hold of the original parts anyway now. Probably wouldn't have done in the day either. But as you can hear, that switches and latches perfectly now, which means that we can now use this 5-pinned in socket here. The 5-pinned in socket on the left there is for pickup, which is for a record player there, and then this one is for tape. When the button is out and not pressed in, this 5-pinned in socket also works as an output, so you can actually record through this off of the tuner or off of the record player that you have plugged into it. So it works two ways. So when the button is out, you're using this as an output. When you press the tape button in, it then becomes an input. So that's about it. It's another bodge which doesn't look pretty, but once you put the cabinet back on, the cover back on, no one would ever know anyway. So long as it works, that's the main thing. Anyway, I've gone on for far too long, so we shall ram this up and I shall say good night.